Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. Man, so much stuff happened today. And I took some notes. And I felt like I only took some notes because it was just a lot that happened. I almost felt like I should have took more notes, but then I felt like I would have been writing the book. But let's get into it. So we got Jesus Christ. You know what? Let's start with Curtis and Cyrus. So Curtis, in the previews, I was just like, all right, so we're gonna do this whole I'm Macho Man, beat my chest or whatever. But apparently he has something on Cyrus as far as like where someone lives, somebody that Cyrus cares about. And so he was like, listen, you fuck with me, you fuck my wife, I'm coming at you. Now at first when he came up to him and he was approaching him, being all like, Billy Badass or whatever, I was just like, you might want to you do know this guy's reputation. So I was giving a lot of shit for that. But then he was like, yo, listen, I know someone that you care about, and if you want to, keep this person alive and breathing or whatever, you do what I say. So, here's the thing. I'm very split about this. Because on one hand, I'm like, you know what? Instead of you bitching and complaining to Jordan about how you should do something but not giving a solution, you actually came through and managed to do something that makes him think, makes him pause at the very least. So I was like, good job. But then I was also like, you know what, you kind of knocked down a hornet's nest, and he already kidnapped TJ and beat him just to prove a point. You really want to sit there and take this guy? It's like they really want to sit there and try to like gamble with this guy as far as Stella, your wife, Portia. I mean, the list just goes on. Is it really worth it? So I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted about that, even as I'm sitting there talking about it. But anyway, Cyrus didn't like it. He called Jordan. He was like, "Yo, you need to get your boy. You need to get your husband on a leash. You need to get your husband on a leash, because if he angers me enough, I will deal with him." So, I made Jordan kind of be like, and this is my whole thing. I feel like there's a lot of people that just aren't taking him seriously. Sonny kind of half takes him seriously sometimes. Jordan and Curtis don't really take him seriously that much. And this is after he kidnapped TJ. And I'm like, I guess somebody has to get killed before they take him seriously. I don't know. Alright, let's go on with this whole 1 second. Let's go on with this whole other thing. The share meeting. The meeting or whatever. Let's go on with that, because that was something special. Pretty much in the beginning of like the episode, sort of, you had Brooklyn getting ready to leave. She was trying her best to be like, oh well, I got studio time, I gotta go. And this is when that was like, we gotta call a meeting, we gotta do this now, because Brooklyn knew exactly what was about to happen. So when Valentine walked right on in, he was like, alright, I'm the bad guy, let's go. You got Olivia giving her emotional speech or whatever, and Valentine was like, yeah, I don't really care, let's just do this whole meeting thing. And I'm not gonna lie, here's the thing. To be fair, it's not like Olivia didn't have a point, but it was just one of those things just like, okay. Olivia and her emotional speeches sometimes just, I don't know. It depends on my mood, because sometimes she can be kind of annoying, a lot, and other times I'm like, alright, she makes some sort of sense. But, anyway, they get this meeting started, started, and that's when Valentine lays it out. It was like, listen, I got 1, 2, 3, I got nearly all the shares. And then that's when Ned's like, alright, so, vote. And that's when, the family is shocked, by the fact that Brooklyn showed her shares to Valentine, and, she explained, she was like, listen, I had a way to get out, I took it, and Ned is there trying to berate her and everything like that, and I don't know, it's kind of back and forth, because, like, on one hand, he has a point, but on the other hand, I can see her side, too, so it's like, it's whatever. Now, here's some shit that kind of, that bother me, and I know a lot of people might feel that way, is when, this whole thing started. This is before, Valentine walked in, and that, for the first time, was they're telling Michael about the secret buy or whatever, and Michael was like, well, what are you talking about? How did you let this happen? How come you didn't tell me? How come you didn't tell me this? And I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like, really? How many times did you, like, take breaks and just kind of just do whatever the hell you wanted to? Not to mention, for the fact that when he was CEO, he lost the company a lot of money by going green and everything like that, so it's not like he was the best CEO from the start. And how many times did Ned had to pretty much kind of come in and, like, clean up his mess? And now he comes out of pocket talking about, oh, well, how did you let this happen? How come you didn't tell me this and stuff like that? I'm like, wow. I generally like Michael's character, but I'm like, yo, right now, you're a dick, and you're wrong. You're dead fucking wrong. And it showed. It was one of those things, like, when he was saying that shit, I was just like, oh my god, is he serious? So long story short, they go to the courthouse. You got Willow and Michael going to the courthouse, and now they're at 50%. I guess they're deadlocked or whatever, and Lucy comes in. This is after Lucy, by the way, got a contribution from Sarah's. They was there talking it up or whatever, and here's the thing. Lucy knows about, I'm assuming that Lucy knows all about, like, you know what, now I think about it, I don't think she knows shit. I don't think she really knows about the whole, like, Cyrus really is a drug dealer and stuff like that. It's just, she took what Jordan said, for face value, and then when she was there talking to him and everything like that, she got a check for the nurse's ball, so of course she was happy. But yeah, so she comes into the, meeting to be the tiebreaker. And so this is pretty much where we leave off at. She's going to decide tomorrow. And it was so funny. It was so funny because Ned was like, alright, well, we're just waiting on you. And are you going to save the hospital or not? Are you going to save the place that you love, your nurse's ball, and all that good stuff? And then Valentine's there looking at her like, yeah, go on. What are you going to do? Now, I'm sorry, but sometimes Lucy cracks me up for all the wrong fucking reasons. Just a quick little backstory. I don't like what they did to Lucy in the show. Because they made Lucy pretty much the butt of every fucking joke. Now she comes across as a dingbat. And the reason why I sit there and say, and the reason I'm so angry with how they portray her, we're gonna have to go to history and time. So, back when poor Charles was, like, relevant and was a thing, she was a great fucking character. I loved her fucking character. I think I probably had a lot of growing up to do at the time, and if I'd have been at the age now that I saw her, I might would have saw her a little bit differently, but for the most part, I thought she was a great character. Yeah, she had her silly moments or whatever, but she was a good character. I mean, she was really shitty to, like, the men that was in her life, like Kevin, but she was a good character. And now they just made her a joke. And so when I sit there and talk negatively about her, it's because I actually liked how she was when the show started and really hate what she became now. But anyway, she's kind of just there looking like she feels like shit because she's going to have to make a choice. And it's the choice between the hospital, a hospital that she loves, the nurses' boards and everything like that, but also deception of, you know, Valentine being her pretty much only financial backer. 1 second. So, yeah, she's in a shit choice, and I guess we're going to find out tomorrow what is going to happen. Oh. How did I forget? No. No. What the fuck is the only thing that I can say. But she has some points. She has some valid points. So, pretty much she walked, you know, she's sitting there waiting for Martin Gray, and she's all like, oh, you're late. They get into a conversation, whatever, and Nell is like, oh, well, you need to stall. You need to sit there and tell them that I'm sick. I get a doctor's note, blah, 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 blah. When Martin is like, well, that's not going to work. And even if it does, like, it's only going to make you look worse. He pretty much is just like, listen, there's no other option that you can do that's going to give you some sort of, you know, rights. So why don't you try to compromise with Michael and we can get you at least visitation, at the very least. And that's when Nell kind of goes off and she's all like, oh, you tanked my case. And Martin's like, you tanked your own case. Now, here's the thing where it gave me a little bit of pause. Because Nell kind of laid out some points that Martin Gray could have used. Could have used the fact that, well, one of her grandmothers was a prostitute. Of course, that just probably would have, like, I don't know. I felt like that would have probably just went against their case. But the fact that she didn't, you know, that they didn't bring it up, I was like, okay. So, talks about the grandmother, talks about, well, I mean, you could have probably talked about Michael and the whole killing of Claudia Sakara. Could have brought up the fact that, you know, his father's like an alleged mobster, that Jason's a hitman, that Carly was in a mental ward. The point was, like, all the stuff that she listed, he didn't do. And I couldn't help but sit there and say, you know what? She kind of has a point. Now, again, it could have played a different way, because Martin could have listed all those things, and it could have backfired and blew up in their face, and the judge could have saw that and be like, okay, so now you're just being petty, vindictive, and mean-spirited, and it could have just went against them. But the fact that he didn't use one or nearly any of those examples that Nell said, I was like, well, she kind of got a point. So long story short, she was like, well, you're fired. And when she said that, I was like, I'm sorry, what? And I rewinded. I literally rewinded because I was like, I want to make sure I heard that shit right. So yeah, she fires him. And then, at this point, Martin's like, you know what? Thank fucking God at this point. So he's like, alright, well, what is left is for you to, you know, pay me my money. And Nell's like, nope, because you didn't win, and every dime that I have, I'm going to use it towards getting the hell out of Port Charles. And I'm also going to make you pay, you know, threaten you, blah, 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 blah. And Martin's like, oh, okay. So you want to try to threaten a lawyer. You want to not pay a lawyer. Okay, cool. Alright, sweetheart, let me know how that works out for you. So after they exchange or whatever, I guess they go their separate ways, because next thing you know, you see, is that, you know, she's at the court hearing. It's amazing. How did that even work? Because I think, Willow was like, well, we should have left like about 2 minutes ago. But I don't know, I guess we can imagine that Michael had this fancy sports car or whatever and went like, I don't know, light speed or some shit, and they got there on time. Oh, also, and you know what? I did actually write some notes. So, let's talk about fucking Dolores, because I felt like in this instance, prior to the other stuff, okay. Now she gets all upset with Sam because she gets pulled off the case. But here's the thing: she barges in there. She knows that her husband or ex-husband, I don't even remember at this point, is in a hospital and she's looking over him. This is probably not the time to sit there and follow the law right to the letter. At the very least, show some fucking compassion. That was the thing that really irritated me because, she was all like, oh, well, I'm ready to sit there and take you back to jail because you flaunt the law however you want, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Miss Perfect Virtue. Were you or were you not doing a little bit of side business of, being with a married man or whatever? But you want to sit there and talk about fucking morality? Unless your shit is absolutely fucking perfect, please don't sit there and start trying to judge other people. And that's what I got fucking upset with her about. And so when the guy came in, he was like, well, I need to see you outside. And then they came back, and then, Dolores was all like, oh, well, you need to, she was like, well, just let you know, since I was just trying to do my job to upload the law and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, but you did it with no fucking compassion. Imagine if your husband was fucking sitting there in the hospital and your parole officer, your CO, whatever, came over to you and was acting the way that she was acting. Like, it was just fucking cruel, and I didn't like it. And so whatever happens to her, happens to her. But to be honest, I'm kind of glad of not seeing her, because it's something about whenever she walks into the room and she's all like fucking mad and pissy and like super strict, it's like, ugh. I don't know why, but you just sucked all the fun out of this fucking soap opera. When are you leaving? But yeah, so anyway, she's gone. I'm happy. The new guy is there, and he's like, you know what? Stay as long as you want. Families first. So, Valentine came through. And, I don't know, in the beginning, it was kind of annoying a little bit because Sam was like, oh, and you sure you're going to come through, whatever. Then she stands there and looks at the letter or whatever, and then looks at Jason. And Valentine's like, yeah, I don't mean to be a dick, but I got other things to do, so you going to sign this shit or not? Like, stop fucking stalling. And by the way, I felt like they changed the scene, by the way. Maybe it's just me, but I felt like they changed the scene. In the previews, Valentine was like, why are you still stalling for? But when the episode actually aired, I don't remember him actually saying that. And it stuck in my mind because I was just like, Stan, what the hell are you doing? Just sign the damn paper so that way you can see your husband and not be bothered by this bitch in the fucking moo-moo. I mean, come on, let's go. Like, what are you doing? And so when they changed like the stand a little bit, I was like, it stood out to me. But then again, maybe it's just me. Anyway, that is going to do it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for commenting. I really appreciate all the support. And I don't take that lightly. I really don't. And I don't just mean about the reviews and stuff like that. Just the comments of whatever that people leave below. You know who you are, and I thank you very much. And I also thank the new people who are watching as well. Usually I do my reviews a little bit later, because I get out of work later. But since I was off today, tomorrow, and I think the next day, my review should be coming out somewhat on time. Much more on time than normal. But anyway, thank you for your patience. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, and I cannot thank you enough. Have a good day. Be safe. I will catch you in the next review.